All right. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Play Anywhere podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Cody, and I'm joined by my co host, Wolverine4263. Thanks for being here with me, buddy.
Hey, Cody.
We've been wanting to talk for a while. I know both our schedules are pretty busy, but, there's been so much Microsoft and just gaming overall news that have kind of jumped up on us. And I figured, this was a great chance to kind of discuss what our thoughts are. I know we've talked a little bit online. There's been a lot of discourse, some kind of. I feel like it's two extremes. There's one side that's like, oh, this is the end of Xbox, it's completely over, to the other side where it's like, oh, they're going to return to exclusives. I can't wait to go back to the Xbox 360 days. So I feel
Yeah.
like, those are kind of like the extremes. And I kind of want to just get your overall take. And then while you're kind of giving your thoughts, I'll go ahead and pull up kind of a article about the CEO change and everything.
Yeah,
So,
well, Xbox has been dead for about 12 years now, it feels
yeah,
like, if you
yeah,
listen to people online.
yeah.
So, that's always been out there. It has been interesting hearing the sort of Xbox fanboys kind of peeking their heads out, with this thought of exclusivity coming back. Personally, when they made the switch to more multi-platform development, I didn't really care. I think these games should be played by everybody. But the thought to me was that all of that revenue is going to come back to the Xbox gamer, and I feel like in many ways that hasn't
Hmm.
um, maybe happened. And I don't really think exclusivity is on the table, but I do think maybe a realignment of priorities in terms of who gets catered what, beyond
Yeah.
gaming. It's a platform, so there's a lot of social aspects and perks that we get on Xbox. The rewards program, quick resume, Dolby Vision. There's all kinds of things that we get, and I'd love to see more things like that personally. Uh, I don't think denying games people is something that makes me feel better about my purchase as much as just having a better platform and box to begin with. Now, beyond that, I will say, you know, Sony and Nintendo just don't play the same by the same rules,
No.
and um, if something like Wolverine never comes out on PC, which I think we'll discuss later, it kind of feels unfair if you want people to only be on Xbox or mainly be on Xbox to not have anything similar to that.
Y-
But
Yeah,
to
I
me
kind of.
personally, it's not important.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I feel like exclusives are kind of very negative to just overall gaming experience because not everyone can buy every single console. It's expensive.
Right,
I feel like it's annoying if like you have a buddy that's like, well, I have a PlayStation, I have an Xbox, and you can't do like cross play, or you can't like if it's a
right,
multiplayer type game. So I understand why Nintendo and Sony does this because they make more money. I mean, they can charge the full amount. It's like a walled off garden.
right.
I enjoyed the strategy that they were going down. I know a lot of people say, well, that's what killed them, but a lot of people don't realize the Xbox One like did so much damage that I feel like Phil and all these initiatives were trying to bring like it was very hard to come back from that, and I feel like they'll admit that. I know there was a lot of hardcore Xbox fans that were still, with it, but a lot of people moved to PlayStation and it was all your digital library. And then, so it's like they had to come up with strategies to try to compete with that, which I feel like, is understandable. I do agree with you in terms of if I have a choice where all the Xbox games are coming to PlayStation, but like I want to play like the next Uncharted game or the next whatever PlayStation exclusive comes out, why would I buy an Xbox? So you have to convince people what's the value proposition and what's those perks and what's something that the Xbox ecosystem does, better than the PlayStation. And I would say, Game Pass was a big thing for a long time. I know a lot of people say now, oh, $30, they went too far. I heard some things. I watched. Ryan McCaffrey, Xbox Unlocked podcast, and he was talking about how maybe on some of the lower tiers you offer them like bonuses where it's like, oh, you get, like a, say some of the games that you don't have access to, you give them like a token or some kind of voucher to be able to get like
Yes.
one or two games that normally you wouldn't be able to get. And like small things like that, I think could go a long way for some people that are kind of either on the fence or like, what's going on. And I think that's the biggest thing with this new CEO, Asha Sharma, coming in. There's a lot of anxiety about, like, the transition seemed very rushed. But do they have a plan, and what is that plan? And, you have these diehard Xbox players that are still kind of holding on, but how do you gain new people? And I hope, within, the rest of the year and then, just to come with Project Helix, which we'll get more into, is they have a very clear strategy where, hey, this is what we're trying to do. So that way the messaging isn't muddled of like, are we going to lose access to my games? Is Xbox going full third party? What are we doing? And I feel like there's been some communication, but I just feel like, it just really needs to be laid out to, for a lot of people, I think.
Right. You said a lot there. Do you have
Yeah, and we
any?
can. Yeah, go ahead. And we can jump into it. Like, we can kind of, those are kind of just my overall thoughts of just kind of what's going on. But we can kind of jump more into, I guess, kind of take it line by line in terms of just what were your, here, I'll ask you this question. What was your thoughts of how, Phil Spencer, he's retiring, Sarah Bond's out, and then we have this new AI executive, which I know she's done other things, but that's kind of the big headline
Yeah.
of she was in AI before she came
Right.
to become Microsoft. So what are your thoughts on how that rolled out and of her so far, what you've seen?
So, yeah, so I guess, quickly, I went down a kind of a road with it where at first it's very shocking and, oh, this looks really bad. Um, I don't know this person, and they're obviously saying AI executive. Um, but once you start reading into it and reading about the person and reading the statements, um, it was really reassuring to me what she said, what Phil said, but then also I've watched a lot of videos that kind of have discussed her background and talked about interviews with her. I think Destin on YouTube has done some really good coverage of the
Yeah, he's great.
transition, and yeah, he's I think he's very level headed about it. Um, and to me, after sort of coming to a conclusion on it, it really sounds like she came in because she had a lot of confidence within the Microsoft leadership to get things done and to turn things
Yeah.
around quickly that Microsoft cares about. And it really doesn't have anything to do with AI as much as they care about AI. So they wanted somebody that was good to get that done. So they also want somebody good to get the Xbox on the right track, so to speak. And this could have a lot to do with launching a new console. They want somebody in there that hasn't been a face for play wherever you want. So maybe there's a factor there. Maybe that's part of the reason why Sarah Bond has been sort of taken out, because she has been a face for you don't need this box, but they're going to be selling a box within the next
Yeah.
18 months. So
Yeah.
I could see that being a reason. We can't really guess what happened within the company. I'm sure they
Yeah.
weren't happy by parts of the company's, by Xbox's current business, and they wanted improvements. But seeing the stuff she's done before
Yeah.
uh, at AI with Instacart and her own charities, and the fact that she's only like a couple years older than us, only a couple years older than me at least. I think that's pretty exciting. Seeing somebody that's clearly so motivated to do good and to do well in her position. I don't know if this is something that is going to be a step for her or if it's a career for her. Being in this role, but she could be here for 2 or 3 years, or she could be here for 10 years. We don't really know what kind of
Yeah.
impact she will have.
Yeah, and I feel like you said, the initial kind of shock, and it's not that I mean, everyone kind of knew Phil was going to retire, but I think the thing that really stood out was he seems like a real gamer, you know, unlike a lot of these
Right.
CEOs or just
Right.
executives that, yeah, maybe they're really good managers or they're good at running a business, but they honestly don't really care about gaming in terms of they don't understand it as much because I feel like it's almost like if you have no experience, you know, in something, it's hard to connect with people if you're trying to make an experience or a product that will engage. So I think there was this kind of like sense of like, oh, he's like kind of the last gamer focused
Right.
CEO that we have left. He's gone. It's also just kind of crazy that he didn't have like a farewell tour. It almost seems like okay, just maybe he wanted that. Maybe he's just like, hey, I'm kind of done.
Maybe we'll
There's
still get that.
yeah, yeah. So and I have a feeling he'll come back to shows and stuff like that.
I, I,
So
I really hope that he's at the June show.
yeah, me too. Because I think that would be a shame if he wasn't. And I'm not saying like I mean these are corporations, so ultimately, I mean it's they don't really care that much about about you or me. But I feel like just the message that you want to send to the core Xbox audience, which it seems like she's saying the right things in terms of like, hey, we want to focus on the core, console players that we
Right.
have. I think that would go a long way. In terms of like the AI aspect of it, I don't think we're going to get where she comes in and says every game in like studio under our umbrella must use AI immediately. I don't think that's going to happen. I'm sure there's going to be AI things that are implemented throughout the years with every company, not just Xbox, because that's just where the world's going. If you like it or not, this kind of is what it is. But I don't think we have to have this fear of like, oh no, we're going to have AI generated games like day one when she starts, type of thing. I don't think that's
Yeah, and it's a good thing that she addressed that up front. It shows how
yeah.
smart she is about her experience and how that would be received in the community.
Yeah. And then you know so that I did have like some concerns. I'm like, hey, this just seemed rushed, but I'm going to give her like the benefit of the doubt until it's like proof with your actions. Like if she does things that I'm like, oh, this is not good, then of course you'll call it out. But we kind of just need to wait and see. I think the quick thing is to just rush to, hey, Xbox is dead. It's pillow over the face kind of thing. And I'm like, well, we don't know that yet. And like you said, they've been saying it's been dead for probably since it first launched, the original Xbox. Like, no way this is going to succeed. And maybe, I mean, I don't know. I don't know the future. Maybe one day they won't have a box, type of thing. But speaking of that, do you think their strategy, depending on how Helix does, and I'll bring up that article while I'm kind of describing this. Do you
We're gonna
think
move on to the Helix announcement.
Yeah. So do you think I've seen a lot of people discussing it? Do you think it's going to be because it says the main kind of sticking point people see or I've seen talk about is will play PC games, and a lot of people are like, well, that's just a PC, so it's kind of like a weird, but I like talk because it's like, well, it's just a PC then. I think what they're going to go for, and I don't know this. This is just my internal just from the announcement. We didn't get a lot. Of course, just kind of the Project Helix name is. It's going to still be a box that you plug into your TV. So it's going to be really easy for people that aren't into computers that you don't have to like change out graphic cards or memory and stuff like that.
Right.
Because I think that's a lot of console players. They just want to be able to plug it in and play the game immediately, not be like, oh, the driver and oh, do I have enough memory and what graphical settings. And so I think
Yeah.
if they can make it where it's really easy still to plug in, but then you have access to potentially the Steam store, other game stores. I don't know if they'll do that, but if it's more open, like in terms of that way, but it's still user friendly where you just plug and play, I think would be a really good thing. My fear is not only with the chip shortages and all that kind of stuff and parts becoming more expensive, is that it's going to be like over $1,000 or maybe even $1,200, $1,300,
Right.
and I feel like at that price point they're gonna. It's almost like setting up for failure. I don't want them to fail, but
Right.
like you'll have core people that really are into this. But if it's that expensive, I don't know what the perfect price point. I would say maybe like you don't want to go past 800 to me. if it goes past that, but I just really don't know because they talked about before Asha took over. I think Sarah Bond had said this in the past, where we're creating a premium Xbox experience, and premium
Yeah.
automatically my
Yes.
brain goes to, oh, premium Apple, like iPhone type thing. It's like, oh, the phones are over $1,000. It's
True.
like this thing's gonna be over $1,000, but things maybe have shifted. I don't know.
Yeah.
What are your kind of thoughts on the announcement and then where the potential it could be?
Yeah. So this has kind of been what they've been hinting at and talking about for like 2 years now. It feels like, and I know Phil Spencer a few years ago said, "Oh, it would be great if we didn't have, walled gardens on our consoles. I think it'd be better for the consumer." Um, I've been expecting this pretty much since like 2021, 2022,
Yeah.
personally, and so going off what you're saying, price wise, that is definitely a fear. I have a buddy that is on a Series S, and he definitely does not want to have to spend a whole lot more than he spent on his Series S for a
And,
next gen
well,
Xbox.
yeah, not to interrupt you, I'll let you continue. But the crazy thing is, Xbox, like at least the X, I think the S has gone up, but like if you buy an X, it's $200 more today than it was when it first came out 5 years
Right,
ago, and that's not a good thing.
right,
And I know some of that's the tariffs. There's other things outside of their control, but that's not something that, like, if you're trying to get people to come to your console and play on an Xbox, that's not something. You know what I mean? I know PlayStation, I think, raised their
right.
prices too, so I'm not saying it's just an Xbox thing, but price is definitely a factor, and especially if you're a buddy who's spent less money on the the S.
Right.
I people like that aren't going to be like, oh yeah, I want to go out and spend over $1,000 on this high end thing, even if it's has a lot of features. So yeah, but continue. I just wanted to jump in there.
Right. And that's definitely a fear. You don't want to lose that lower end market. And that's why I've been pretty bullish on the thought that they have not abandoned the low end, high end SKU like they had with the Series S, Series X, Xbox Ally X. I don't see why they
Yeah,
wouldn't continue with that. Fully expect we'll have a $1,000 box and a $600 box. And the
yeah,
$600 box will be targeting handheld performance or something like Series X performance on PC. So you
yeah.
could get the
If they
backwards
can't,
compatibility.
yeah, and I think if they come out with that $600 price point, that's a lot more appetizing to a lot of people than the thousand. A thousand is just, it's so hard, and then like
Right.
things are so much more expensive, and but a lot of it's out of their control. But it's just, I don't know if they want to try to get back some players, and if they can come in at that $600 price point, I think that's like a very good sweet spot. Once you start getting up into 800 plus range, it's like, I don't know. I mean, why
Right.
shouldn't I just buy a PS5 Pro or whatever?
Some people just want to be
For
able to
that.
turn it on and play a game and they don't
Yeah,
care about the visuals.
yeah, and it seems like a lot of younger people are getting into that, where there's a lot of games where it's not about graphical fidelity as much anymore. I mean, still, I feel like graphics matter depending on the type of game, but it seems like that's not as high. So I don't know. I don't know how they're thinking about this. And then, like you said, if it's
That's
been
a
in
good
years
point.
in the planning, it's kind of like you've built the train, or you built the train tracks, and there's no way to really turn it around. But you could kind of shift it a little bit, but you can't. We can't make 100 like a 180, because I know some people were saying, "Oh, is she going to come in and just cancel? Like, there's no more Xbox. It's just Microsoft gaming. We're 100% third party.
Yeah.
If you want to play our
Sunsetting.
games, yeah, if you want to play our games, go to PlayStation, go to Switch, go to PC."
But then where
I
does Game
don't think.
Pass go?
Yeah, it's like I don't think they're going to do that, and for a couple of reasons. I think, and maybe this is the last hurrah. I don't know, but I think they're going to try this console, this PC hybrid console, and I feel like, I don't know what it's going to be, but I feel like they're going to try it. They got to have, not like a gimmick, but they have to have something, and maybe that's a modification of Game Pass, or something where it's like, oh man, I really need an Xbox because of this, and I don't know what that is.
Right.
But I hope they have something that really makes you kind of question, like, oh, I could buy a PlayStation or whatever, but oh, this is more appealing. And I think the price could be that, because even if you want to buy build your own PC, that's like really expensive, and especially with component prices going up.
Right.
If they could get in that 600 price range, I'm not saying that it would solve all their problems, but I just think that would be very appealing to a lot of people as long as developers want to develop, and it's like, especially if it has like a more PC architecture where it's like, oh, you just develop it for PC and then it automatically works on our bot on the Helix. I don't know. I didn't mean to interrupt you, but I just, that's
No,
where kind of
no,
my mind goes, after
no.
you said
And,
some of that
and
stuff.
and jumping off of just that at the end there, we should see or hear a lot about that this week at the Game Developer Conference from Jason Ronald. Uh, there seems to be a ton of Xbox presentations there. The one that I thought was really cool was build your game on PC and have it on Xbox in one day, I think was the title
Yeah.
of the show. There was another one about multi-device development. So I really do feel like they're looking at the Xbox platform as a family of devices. I
Yeah.
believe that that was the announcement last year from Sarah Bond. That's going to be console, PC, handheld, and that is part of the AMD partnership.
Yeah.
Um,
It's
so I
kind of like a
fully
pit.
expect. Go ahead.
Yeah. No, I was just gonna say it's kind of like play Xbox Play Anywhere, but just not using that wording, but more like the play at the Xbox family of systems or
Right.
something.
We'll,
Kind of like
we'll we'll
Nintendo
go
used to
where you
do.
are.
Yeah, like where Nintendo used to have like, oh, you can play on the 3DS or the they when they didn't have the Switch yet, it was very, oh, the Nintendo family of consoles, and I feel like that's a
Right.
good framing of, you can play Xbox, and maybe they go away a little. I don't think we're gonna have exclusives. Maybe they'll have time exclusives to make it a little bit more appealing. Where it's like, oh, if you want to play, I don't play them, but like Call of Duty, for example, is like a huge game that a lot of players play. I don't know if they'll be like, oh, maybe have more perks for the Xbox. I don't know if they already do that, but like you got to just entice people a little bit, where it's like, oh, I can play like a month or 6 months early on Xbox family of consoles. I don't have to necessarily buy the most expensive machine, the high end one. I could buy the $600, or I can cloud stream it on my laptop. I think there's still a
Right.
way to have a winning strategy with this. You just have to make sure the messaging and it's clear and not kind of fragmented and just like, well, where do I play? And oh, can I play every
And
game? And then PC Game Pass and then Xbox Game Pass? Or like what games are on what? So I think sometimes it gets confusing to the average person that's not really in the loop on all this kind of stuff.
you have to think, even right now, there's got to be people on an Xbox One cloud streaming Xbox Series games.
Yeah,
And why would
yeah,
they want to buy the next Xbox? And maybe it will be GTA 6. GTA 6 is not
yeah.
going to be something, unless that's an upcoming announcement. I doubt it'll be a cloud stream game at launch. Um, but it
No.
will play on the next gen Xbox.
Yeah.
One thing I
Yeah.
wanted to mention about potential perks that you were mentioning, wouldn't a really exciting perk be uh, Guitar Hero? What
Oh
if
yeah, yeah,
they
yeah,
announce a Guitar Hero and it comes out this year, like they did with Tony Hawk last year? And what
yeah,
if they have monthly song drops in Game Pass? I think that would
yeah.
be a
That
pretty
that
cool perk.
yeah, that would be really and like it gives life to some of these like older game franchises where hey, yeah, maybe it's on Game Pass, but you give people a reason to go back and play these games, and I think that's a great idea. Like where
And
it's
it's a
like,
nostalgia hit. It's a nostalgia hit
yeah,
too, because a lot of people
yeah,
played that on 360. I think people played
yeah,
those games more on 360 than PlayStation. I'm just guessing, but that
yeah.
was sort of the culture at the time. So yeah,
Yeah, I mean, my buddy, I didn't have it, but my buddy did, and he played on Xbox, and he had like the whole kit, like the drums and
right.
the guitar and all that. Um, and I feel like I've even heard like Ryan McCaffrey and other like kind of people in the Xbox world say like that'd be nice if they kind of brought that back. And I don't know if that's just wishful thinking, but it seems like it's in the ether, where it's like
Yeah.
being
I hope they
discussed.
don't miss the boat on it because there's some other ones coming out.
Yeah. Yeah, so overall, I don't know if excited is the right word. I am very curious to see more about Project Helix, and I hope we get more details. I doubt we'll see the actual console itself at the this upcoming conference, but do you think they're going to shoot for like? Because I know it's kind of been weird because I feel like COVID, and then also the tariffs, and then the AI them
Yeah,
gobbling
the
up all the
bubble.
chips has really affected a lot of companies' plans. Because I feel like before all that, it was probably thought, oh, 2026 or 2027 is going to, or maybe even, the range where we'll announce and have this next gen consoles. Do you think it's going to get pushed out? They've already talked about Project Helix, so do you think it's like coming in 2027, or they're,
So
what is your thought on that?
everybody's saying 2027. That seems to be where the winds are blowing, fall 2027. I personally am hoping we get a November 15th, 2026 launch. I think that that would be the smartest move for Xbox to get it out before GTA 6, have it on the anniversary of Xbox. Um, I, you know, I don't see how you could have a more winning combo than that, having the best way to play GTA 6
Yeah.
be out there day one. But uh,
Do you think there's
maybe,
any chance that GTA gets delayed again to like next year?
no,
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 I
yeah,
really don't. And
yeah,
I wouldn't doubt there's a lot of overnights being done there to make sure it is done on time.
yeah. I'm sure there's a lot of crunch going on. I think that would be really smart. I'm assuming it's not like one of those things where they just announced Project Helix and it's like this is like what we're working on now. I feel like they've had to been working on this for years, and they
Yes.
probably have the components. Maybe that will keep the price down if they've had these deals in place before some of
And
this.
Microsoft is a part of the AI bubble. Apparently, they have gobbled up a lot of these RAM chips themselves. So
Yeah, yeah, it's
they may have a stockpile of RAM to use.
yeah. So yeah, I'm really curious. It'd be really cool to see it, come out this year and just kind of see what it can do. Off the bat, and like if they're going to go with that kind of two SKU model, kind of like they did with this generation. I hope they
Yeah, I
do
would be
because I
very
just
disappointed
yeah,
if they
because if it
didn't.
comes out and it's like over 1,000, I'm like I don't know, it's not like maybe one day, but I would probably just stick with my X or
So
Xbox Series
yeah,
X.
I had some thoughts on value proposition there.
Yeah,
Free online play, better
yeah.
backwards compatibility, um, obviously Steam library. If you're on Xbox now and you haven't been on your PC in a few years, that's me. I have
Yeah.
200 games on Steam I haven't played. Um, I see
Well,
the value there.
what would be cool too, and I don't know if technically this would be possible because I'm not like a huge tech person, but say you have your Steam library and they're games that were also released on Xbox. You combine them where you can have the achievements. I know I'm not a huge achievement person, but I know some people really are into that, and where
Right.
it's like, oh, I played this game on PC. Once my libraries are melded or like combined on this new system, it pops like, oh, you've completed all the trophies for this game,
So
or not
you would get the
achievements. Yeah,
achievement on
yeah,
Xbox
yeah,
if you
and
are playing it on Steam.
yeah, that'd be kind of cool. I don't know if they would do that or if that's possible or that's something with,
Yeah, that
but that
could be a good idea. Yeah.
yeah, just something small
I
like that
also
where
wonder if it could be something where, like, on your dashboard, instead of having one achievement, you have like your Xbox achievements, Steam achievements, Epic achievements all laid out right next to each other. That'd be kind of
yeah,
cool too.
yeah, kind of like linked, and then you can like when you look at people's gamer tag, it kind of shows you like, oh, this is like what they've done on Steam,
Right.
Epic, Xbox, So I mean, I don't know, stuff like that. I feel like there's like if you do these things that are very gamer focused, even if they're small, I feel like people appreciate those kind of things, and it kind of adds
Right.
up. Maybe just
That's
one.
kind of what gone for Steam.
Yeah, I mean, Steam is a very like I've gotten into PC gaming a little bit more, and Steam is like it's hard to. I feel like they have the best kind of setup, in terms of like they have sales all the time.
Right.
It's they have demos, so it's like it seems like demos always come out on Steam first. I think a lot of
Yes.
developers find it easier to develop for PC, and then like let's have like an alpha or beta running on PC, and then maybe eventually we'll bring it to console. So I think Xbox is in the right mind space of, hey, this is a hybrid console where it's going to be able to play PC games. I don't think that's a bad idea because PC, there's so much more open. Like, there's so many weird. You can there's a lot more weird games and experimental things that you don't get like on the console lockdown ecosystem that you have. So I think it could be a good thing. It's just what's the value prop of can I do, if it's a lot cheaper than a regular PC, I think that could be a real big draw to people. You just got to make sure
Yeah,
that
it
they
should be.
understand, like, hey, you can play these awesome PC games on our device.
Yeah,
Do
they
you
really.
think? Go ahead. Go
Go
ahead.
ahead. No, no,
No,
I want you. Go ahead.
yeah, yeah. Well, I'm just looking at this, the Project Helix. I know a little off topic, but do you think do you find it interesting that it's all black and then there's no really green? Do you think I
Right.
don't know if I'm looking into
Um,
it too much, but
so so
yeah.
in the animated logo, if you watch the animated logo, there is a green like burst of light in
Oh,
the
okay.
top right corner.
I think
And
I
I
remember
do agree
that.
though. I think
Yeah.
a green outline would go far for this. Yeah.
Yeah, because it makes me. I'm not saying it's a fear, but it makes me wonder if it's like that's kind of another, maybe a conspiracy type thing where it's like, oh, it's all black. Are they moving away kind of from the
Right. Well,
Xbox
remember there it is
branding?
an X
Yeah.
right in the middle. So don't
Yeah,
don't
yeah.
don't worry
So
too much there.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So it's like the Helix. So I do like that name. Do you think that will be the final name, like Helix, or do you think because I know
I
project names
doubt
are
it. They've
yeah,
never used a project name from my memory for their final
yeah,
name.
yeah,
But it was interesting. I just watched a video that Dustin posted right before we started the podcast. Apparently, Project Helix was a name they used in like 2016, and it
oh,
was the exact same concept of combining PC and Xbox games into one platform, so to speak. So it's
so
just been a
this
long
idea,
time coming.
yeah, so this idea at least 10 years old. Yeah, that's interesting. And I know, I think Destin had this video too a while back. Whenever they were going through the acquisition of Activision, all those things kind of leaked, or not leaked, but they had to be released because of Discovery,
Right.
and it had like all those kind of like console mock-up. I'm not saying that's what the Helix is going to look like, but it looked very PC
I think
towery.
that was the
You know,
mid-gen refresh. I think that that sort of
yeah,
trash can looking one,
yeah,
the
yeah,
cylinder shape.
yeah,
I think that was a mid-gen refresh. I really liked it. It did not have a disk drive, which I don't like.
yeah.
We'll see what happens there.
Oh yeah, that's another good point. With this kind of fear of because I know some of the fear with Xbox going away is like, well, what's going to happen to all my digital library? Is that just done? And that happens a lot with Nintendo, for example, where it's like they just came out with Fire Red and Leaf Green, and it's like, man, I bought this game like 5 times. You know what I mean? Nintendo gets away with it just because they're Nintendo, and I love a lot of their games, so I'm not trying to be a hater, but I think people on PlayStation and Xbox kind of have this fear of like, well, ever since we got into this digital generation, like with Xbox One and PS4, or it's like we don't want to lose access to those things.
Exactly.
And if this new console comes out and they say, "Hey, you don't," that would be terrible. That would like
Yeah.
people would.
I
I
feel
don't think
like
they're going to do
they've
that,
been
but
Yeah, I think especially Asha recently has been about as clear as possible without actually demoing the hardware, which I think
yeah,
is the point. They can't the cat's kind of out of the bag, I feel like, in terms of what it's going to do, but how it's going to do it is going to be a novelty when they show it, and hopefully it wows us, but from what I'm reading and what they've said, it sounds like every Xbox game that you can play on your Series X and S, you will be able to play on the next gen machine with all the DLC. It's probably going to run in like a virtual machine. Personally, I would like to be able to just go to the Xbox OS if I want to play Xbox games, and just run it like a Series X.
yeah.
But I'm not sure what it's going to look like.
Yeah, and what do you think? And I've heard this been talked about on other podcasts, and kind of like in a joking way. But do you think, since it's this PC hybrid, that you'll be able to use a mouse and keyboard if you want
Oh,
on games?
absolutely.
Yeah, so it's like,
Absolutely. I mean, you can do that with a lot of games now if you want.
yeah, yeah. So it's like this. It's a very play. It's almost like play how you want. Play what like on the Xbox family of consoles. Play. It's like whether you want to play on
I mean,
the
it's going to
Helix or
run Windows. It might
yeah.
be able to, you might be able to sideload any operating system you want to it. It's
Yeah.
going to run emulators very easily.
Yeah.
The current Xboxes can run them pretty well, but not. It'll be even easier than that. It sounds like.
Yeah.
So yeah, pretty open.
Yeah. Yeah. So, did you have any other, I guess, like overall big thoughts on Helix or anything? And then
I'm excited. I want to see it. I'm ready for next gen hardware. I want AI upscaling, frame generation. There's a handful of games I'm ready to get my hands on. I want it Spider-Man, Spider-Man 2.
yeah.
That'll be exciting.
Yeah, and that kind of leads us. I don't have an article for it, but that kind of leads us into kind of something we were talking about offline about PlayStation. I've heard things, and I don't know if they've made public statements where they're, hey, we're pulling back from PC. Uh, I haven't played it myself, but I know like you can play like I think God of War was it 2018, I think on PC, and there's been
Is
a few other
Ragnarok on there
games.
too?
I think it might be actually. I haven't
I hope
checked,
it is.
but
I hope it is.
but but there's a lot of game like I would love to play those games. I played like the original God of War and everything, so I just haven't played the newer ones because I just don't have a PlayStation. But what do you think of that? Like PlayStation's like, hey, we've tried a few games on PC. We're pulling back. We're saying, hey, no, you have to come to our if you want to play with our toys, you have to come play at our house. You
Yeah,
can't you know
I I guess I have some kind of strong opinions on it. I try not to be really fanboyish about things like this, but there's a lot of times where Sony has said one thing and done another thing.
yeah.
I think back to We Believe in Generations at the beginning of this generation, and they put out a bunch of PS4 and PS5 cross-gen games right after that. With this specific thing, though, they haven't actually said anything, and it's all just based on reporting, which started out as a gut feeling. From what I've read and watched, it sounded like Jason Schreier had a feeling that he decided to write an article about.
Yeah, and it's
Um,
tough with him because and I don't have anything against the guy or anything personally, but it seems like he's like viewed as the top authority because he does all this investigative reporting, so other outlets kind of grab onto what he says
right,
and then
it's
kind of
fact.
publishes it as official statements from
Right,
PlayStation, which
right,
this happens a lot in news where a very known reporter will say something and then they'll be like, oh, da 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 da. And then it's like, you get the headlines and then it's like, oh, is this really real? I mean, we haven't really heard anything, but
and then they
then,
forget about it.
yeah, and then, yeah, so it kind of snowballs out of control. And maybe PlayStation will come out. I don't know. For me personally, and we talked about this at the top of the pod, was I don't think it's really gamer friendly to be like, hey, if you don't own a PlayStation, you'll never play these games, even if they're 10 years old or 15 years old. It's like
Right.
it seems like a wasted opportunity if you only care about money and these this is what these companies care about, right? Raising their stock price, making money. It's like, hey, God of War 2018, it's been almost 10 years. Is it really going to hurt us to release it on PC?
Right.
And you kind of see that with Xbox where it's like, oh, some of the top selling Xbox games are on PlayStation, or the top PlayStation
Right.
games are Xbox games. So it's like, I
Right.
feel like when it's more places, everyone can win. I think their fear is, oh, if we do that, then are people still going to buy our hardware? And I just feel like eventually, I don't know if hardware is always going to be a thing because things will be more powerful, and I think just PC is the kind of the future, as long as it's user friendly. Still, like I was saying, where hey, it looks like an Xbox or it looks like a PlayStation, but in all intents and purposes, it's a PC that I can just plug into my TV. I don't have to worry about all the settings and stuff, but it plays my
Drivers.
games. So I don't know. I find it interesting, and like you said, it kind of snowballed, and I guess we'll kind of see what they do. It's always interesting because it's like PlayStation in terms of numbers are so much further ahead than Xbox, but I feel like Xbox has better gamer initiative type things like Game
Right.
Pass, backwards compatibility, and just I don't know. I just always liked Xbox more. I'll admit that.
Right.
I'm a fanboy
The
probably,
actual
but
profitability
you know,
numbers, I think, are quite a bit skewed differently than people might expect. because Xbox has so much software out there now with Call of Duty, especially, and Forza Horizon 5 being a juggernaut. But just one more
Yeah.
thing on this whole PlayStation exclusivity thing. If this was a big deal for PlayStation, why wouldn't they say this themselves? You know, is it maybe they
Yeah.
still will. Maybe they'll do another show for Wolverine.
Yeah.
They've already announced the release date for Wolverine, but they haven't from what I've seen, the marketing hasn't even put PS5 exclusivity as a big deal for that game, which
Yeah.
is weird. You know, if they want to use those
Yeah.
exclusive games to sell console, they should be loud about it, and they should have done it a year ago if that was a decision then, and should be a week ago because every time they wait, they're potentially losing a sale to PC. So, and then the day later, they had a tweet about a PC branded PS5 controller. So I thought that was kind of funny.
Yeah. Yeah, it's kind of like, and I don't. I watch a few videos on PlayStation. I don't really keep up as much, I don't think, but it seems like they have some leadership, that a lot of, I guess, PlayStation fans don't agree with how they're, dealing with some of their properties. I know, like, that they came up with that Sons of Sparta game. I think that's like that kind of
Oh,
2D
yeah, I
Metrovania,
heard that
and
was
it
a little
didn't
bit
really get a lot
divisive.
of good. Yeah, and it was very divisive, and it's like, oh, that's one of their main IPs, and it seems like they're. I'm not saying they're in Xbox in terms of. I'm not saying Xbox is dysfunctional per se, but you know what I mean. There's not this
It,
perception of
it
like, oh, you got to
it's
worry
sort of the
about.
opposite, you know. They have a software issue, whereas Xbox has a hardware issue, and it's flipped.
Yeah, yeah. So it's kind of interesting, that kind of dynamic and everything. Um, I think those were the main stories. Before we kind of jump out, I wanted to ask: are you playing anything interesting
I'm kind of
or
jumping
fun?
around right now. Yeah, I finished Final Fantasy VII Remake
Oh yeah, was it a lot
a
of
few
fun?
weeks ago. Yeah, it was pretty fun. You know, it had some issues with pacing where you're walking around really slowly a lot or climbing under things. I don't like that stuff when it's in the game a lot. Uh, I'm
Yeah,
playing High on Life 2 right now. I'm just about to beat it, I think. It's fun, but it's a little glitchy.
yeah.
Um,
I've heard
a lot of
that.
a lot of small stuff like entropy effect on Game Pass and Ball Pit.
Yeah.
Uh, yeah,
Yeah, and I want to say they just came out with Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, so there's a lot of
right.
great games still coming to Game Pass. If
Man,
you
it
haven't
is.
checked them out or did,
It's crazy how much the backlog kind of drowns you when you have Game Pass, you know, and you're just almost like a paralyzed. You're almost paralyzed by
yeah,
choice, you know. But what
it's
have
like
you
it's like you
played?
open up net. Yeah, it's like you open up Netflix and you just don't know what to watch. And you're like, you spend 30 minutes just looking for something
Exactly.
to watch. That's how it feels sometimes with Game Pass, which is a good thing.
Exactly.
And I've said this many times where if I was a kid, if I was 10, 12 years old, I would be in heaven with Game Pass.
Right. Oh my gosh, all the free time.
Yeah, yeah. All the summers where you don't have to work, and it would be amazing. So me and my wife, we just went and bought a Nintendo Switch 2, which we didn't think we were going to do, but the reason we bought it was to play the new Pokemon game, the kind of Animal Crossing,
Yeah,
Minecraft
Pokopia, is
type
that how you say
game.
it?
I honestly don't know, and then my wife makes fun of me because I say I sound like an old man. Where like I'm not as
I
bad as like
probably did.
Pokemon. I'm not like Pokemon, but it's like that level where I'm like, is it Poketopia? I don't know. It's like, but it's the new one, and
Right.
and she makes fun of me all the time about it. But anyway, so we've
So
been
does that have
playing.
multiplayer or anything?
Yeah, yeah, it does have multiplayer. I think you can play. I don't know because I know some of the Switch 2 games you can play onto Switch 1. That kind of like what they used to do with like the DS, where it's like if one person has a copy, the other person can play. I don't. I'm not 100
Right.
percent sure on that. We've just been kind of doing the main story, but it's a lot of fun. It's a very relaxing, chill game where it's like you're trying to make your island better, or
Mm-hmm.
you're kind of getting the story, and the story's been really good and. I don't want to spoil it. I don't know if you'd ever play it, but it's very like you're like what happened to this world and how they're sprinkling that with like you find these little kind of messages from where the humans and you're like what happened and you're kind of getting these little sprinkles. So it's been a really great game and that's what we've been playing a lot lately. So since we just got
Yeah,
it this
that
week, so
sounds fun.
yeah, yeah, it's a lot of fun.
I wanted to go ahead.
Go ahead. No, no, no. Go ahead.
Well, I was going to change the subject. I just
Yeah.
wanted to ask if you guys had played It Takes Two. I was wondering.
Oh no, I've heard of
Uh,
that. One of our favorite co-op games is all you can eat or Overcooked, like all you can eat. The
oh
version that has one
yeah.
and two, we love that. That's probably like one of my top five favorite games, just because we played it and we like 3-star, like we haven't 4-starred it, but like we've 3-starred every level, and we try to get the times, and it'll be funny because my wife's sister will come and visit sometimes, and she's played it before, and we'll be playing, and she'll be yelling at her sister, no, you're messing up our flow, and it's just,
Yeah.
tensions can get high, but we never like get mad or anything. But it's one
Yeah,
of those really fun games. I wish they would come out with another one, but I don't know if they will. But there's a lot of
I
content, in those games. So
we used to play that one, but we did get a little argumentative about
yeah,
it, so we don't play that one anymore. But
yeah.
I do recommend It Takes Two. And I just randomly thought of it because it's a husband and wife co-op game, and the
Hmm.
husband is named Cody. So
Oh, really?
I always have that in front of my mind when I
Yeah,
think of you.
yeah. That's awesome.
I think you guys really love it. It's one of our favorite games we played together.
Yeah, I've heard really good things about it, and then I know Split Fiction is supposed to be really
Right.
good
If you
co-op.
want to play both, I would say play Split Fiction first because I didn't like it quite as much.
Oh, okay, yeah. So kind of like
But they're both good.
yeah, yeah. That was a hard thing because we played Overcooked 2 first, and there's a lot of mechanics, quality of life where you can throw things,
Right.
and then you go back to 1 and you're like, oh crap, you can't throw. So it's hard. Like 1's a lot harder than 2 in my opinion, or our
Oh,
opinion. I don't know because I think you get used to 2, but yeah, we always love those kind of co-op games, and we also like playing like back in the day, like she played Portal, but I would play not with her. I wasn't controlling it, but I'd be like, oh, I think this is how you solve the puzzles. So I think
right,
like
right.
there's a lot of games, even if it's technically a more of a solo experience, I enjoy just watching and then being like, oh, I
Yeah,
think
like
if you do this, or
backseat
I,
gaming.
yeah, I have a lot of fun doing that too.
Yeah.
Um, so,
We
but
also play Marvel Rivals.
yeah,
we can end it out here.
no. We can keep going. I was just gonna say, yeah, if there's any other games you've been playing, but I know, yeah, you're really big into Marvel Rivals. I need to check that out
We
still.
played that almost every day for like a whole year. We've
Dang,
slowed
yeah.
down quite a bit recently, but
Mm.
it's really fun because we both played Overwatch 2 and it's very Overwatch coded.
Oh,
Um,
okay.
that's a really fun one to play in co-op if you have two platforms to play on. Um,
Okay.
and Lego Party is a really good game too. I wish more people had seen Lego Party because it's a really fun, basically Mario Party copy with Lego
Is it
stuff.
still?
And
Was it like a live service, or is it still around? Or
no, it's
okay.
it's just you just buy it and play it.
Oh,
It's
okay.
got
I'll have
like
to check it
four
out.
or five different boards, and there's tons of unlockable minifig characters. You can make your own character.
That's cool.
Very funny.
Yeah.
Pretty fun mini games. I wish it got DLC, but it's just like Mario Party.
Yeah, that sounds really cool because I always love the like Lego Star Wars games, and a lot of the Lego games
Yes,
are a lot of fun. A lot of collectible, a lot of humor. I like the humor in it where it's like, oh, it might be a serious moment, but they kind of make it funny, and
they're
you
good at
know,
that.
yeah, they're really great. And I don't know, like I'm trying to think when was the last like big Lego kind of game. I guess they came out with that Lego Star Wars Saga. What was it? A couple of
Yes,
years ago.
that was like around launch of the current gen. I remember playing
Yeah.
all of that with my girlfriend, and then they got the Lego Batman game coming out in May, and that looks really
Oh
good.
yeah, the Lego Batman game, because that was like it felt very Spider-Man versy, where it's like, oh, all the different versions of Batman and their villains, and I remember the trailer for that now. Yeah, that looked really cool, for sure. So, but did you have any other, I guess, big thoughts, either on any of these kind of the news or anything
Yeah,
before
I'm
we
sure
wrap
I
it up?
do, but I can't think of
Yeah,
anything right now.
yeah, yeah, and I'm sure we'll do more. It's hard. I don't know. Hopefully, maybe one day we'll have maybe a more consistent schedule. But it's one of those things like there's not always news, and then everyone has lives and everything. But I really enjoy doing this, So I hope we can,
Absolutely.
can do more. If you think of anything, or if anything pops crazy with the show coming up, we can jump back on and kind of discuss our thoughts and everything. But
Yeah, sounds good.
yeah. So everybody, if you can please like and subscribe, check out Wolverine4263 on Threads. You can find me at Darth Galat. But until next time, we'll see y'all later.